Hey, welcome to Outsmart Your Guitar. Glad you could join us. Today's episode of Soloing Concepts is titled Speed Kills. Now, this can be a very divisive topic, but we're going to dive into it a little bit and talk about the advantages of speed and the disadvantages of speed in your soloing playing. All right, so let's just get right to it, shall we? And be sure to like and subscribe to Outsmart Your Guitar along the way. Okay, speed is a topic that a lot of people don't like to talk about very much because it can be very divisive. You have this camp over here who loves to play fast. They love Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Yngwie Malmsteen, Uli Jon Roth, and whoever else you want to put in that camp, who tend to play very fast. And then you have people over here who really prefer players who are more melodic minded, Amos Garrett, even Duane Allman and Dickie Betts, and other people, Warren Haynes. Yeah, that was the guy I was just trying to think of. These people play very melodically. They have a mastery of speed, but they tend to stay over here and only use speed as an accent or a flavor. It's not their stock and trade. Playing melodically is their stock and trade. And who can't listen to songs like In Memory of Elizabeth Reed and Jessica and not go, wow, I know those are both Allman Brothers tunes, so I get it, but not go, wow, that's just really amazing. But there's not a lot of heavy speed going on there. But then you listen to Cliffs of Dover, right? The intro and then the actual song. And you go, well, okay, there's a lot of speed going on here too. But you'll notice how Eric Johnson uses the speed is as an effect and connecting thing between the more melodic passages, right? And then when he takes these solo, then he's more free to use speed as a device of creating excitement. And that's great, right? But at the end of the day, where I come from, melody is king. Speed is great. It's nice to have it. I have speed capabilities, but I prefer melody. Melody is king because that's what makes a song. Because when you're playing an instrumental, you're charged with playing the melody, taking the place of the singer. And you'll notice singers don't sing like lead guitar players play, especially when they're playing super fast licks. They just don't do it. They're focused on the great melody and conveying the message through the lyrics, of course. All right, so that is my short dissertation on speed and why that matters. Now, what I want to get into next is demonstrating what I'm talking about, okay? The first thing I'm going to demonstrate is speed, just playing fast. Now, as I said, I've got speed, but I don't necessarily have blinding speed, so I tend to stay with 16ths, maybe the occasional 32nd note myself. And so here is the idea. I'm going to play super fast, and then I'm going to break down why this doesn't really work the way people want to think it does. All right, here we go. just want to drop in here for a moment and remind you, down in the description, you'll see a link to patreon.com/outsmartyourguitar. Click on the link, go on over, and become a free member. In so doing, you'll have access to a number of lessons and the material for them, the written material. Then you can join as a full-on patron at one of 3 levels. In so doing, you'll get expanded versions of lessons that are featured here and access to lessons that are not featured here, as well as all written material and any audio that also comes with those lessons. So click on the link, become a free member, then become a full-on patron. And thank you for visiting my channel either way. Well, let's get back to the lesson. All right, as you can see, I had a lot of fun here. I was improvising and along the way striving to introduce thematic and melodic elements as I was able to remember what I had played previously. It's part of the thing of improvisation is you have to kind of try to remember what you played before to see if you can revisit that, and that in itself creates a thematic cohesion in your playing. Now, the one exception to playing speed licks through a whole bit is that if you sit down and compose most every note, you can then start to bear in mind the thematic elements of your melody and actually set a melody in place that's going to be played throughout in the thematic context of this tune. But again, you have to really compose this. Reference back to Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson. You listen to it. Remember, I said that you're taking the place of the singer and the melody that he would be singing. So in effect, you have to have a verse and a chorus, right? And verses can be thematically the same, but note for note a little different because this delineates, different words that you're using. Just as verses are composed of separate word groups, right? So verses can be composed of separate note groups, but you still have to have the main theme floating throughout there. And then the chorus, of course, is the chorus, and that pretty much stays static every time you play it. Then when you have the solo section, you can pretty much play whatever you feel like playing. This is the one exception to playing fast licks all the time, is you have to really think about composing it. And this way, from song to song, you're not going to be repeating a lot of the stuff because you'll know, oh, I did that here, so maybe I need to change it a little bit in this particular tune, right? So Danny Gatton, too, is another phenomenal player, played a lot of instrumental tunes. And you'll notice that he used the verse-chorus construct, just like a regular song, to sing his melodies and his verses through his guitar. And then he had his solo sections, too. And then would come back into the chorus and verse, maybe a bridge. And those would be thematically consistent throughout the song. This is very important. Solos should also have some degree of thematic cohesion to make them relevant to the song itself. So while speed in and of itself is a great thing to have, it's not an end unto itself. All right. So what you heard me doing, again, was improvised, but I was trying to create some melodic cohesion throughout. Okay. So the next bit I'm going to do is going to be a little bit different. In this example, I'm going to now do the exact opposite what I did previously. I'm going to play melodically, exclusively, and not include any speed licks whatsoever. All right, as you can see in that example, it had a lot more singing quality, like a vocalist. And yet it also kind of just went along and didn't really generate a lot of excitement. And there's the downside of playing slow. And there are, of course, exceptions to any rule. Just as with speed, you have to compose everything very carefully to get the melody ideas clear and the thematic ideas clear. So too with playing slow, your note choices really start to matter even more because there are fewer notes. And so you have to be very careful how you arrange them. Again, composing a melody is a big deal here, to have the verse section and the chorus section and then your solo section. Even if it's all melodic based and slower and no speed licks, you really have to spend a lot of time deciphering just how you want it to go and how to take advantage of the slower elements that you're employing here without putting people to sleep, let's be honest, being boring, and not generating a lot of excitement. Now, there's ways to generate excitement even with slower melodies. One of the keys is that you don't really want to, especially in just a solo, make the solo very long. You want to get in, make your statement, and get out and get back in the tune. But when we're talking about instrumental tunes, then you really have to pace yourself carefully and make sure your notes are exactly what they should be, that the melody is so good. And this is a difficult thing to do, to create a really good melody. And your chorus licks are so good that it's overlooked that these are slower melodic ideas being conveyed here. A well-written melody, even a well-written solo, even at the slower, more melodic pace, is still very powerful when done well. Okay, so bear all these things in mind if you're going to just play the slower licks, right? Be careful. Make every note count. And that's the most important part. Every note has to count. As you saw with the speed version and the slow version, there's possibilities there, of course. And as I outlined, you have to be very careful in how you approach these because it matters a lot what you do to make it work, right? Now, I have a third example to present to you, and it's available if you go over to patreon.com, Outsmart Your Guitar, and subscribe at the Backstage Pass level. You will gain access to the rest of this lesson. All right? I want to thank you for spending the time here. I know your time is valuable, and I really appreciate that you come in here and pay attention to the things I have to offer and the lessons I have to teach. I really enjoy teaching. I enjoy making these videos to help you become a better musician, not just a guitar player. So until next time, you take care, and we'll see you soon.